My name is Gerald Williams. I'm a longtime resident of Woodlawn with about a 45-year absence. I live in an area just west of the cemetery, which was called Grand Crossing. My parents moved there in 1939 with 6 children. Quiet neighborhood. My father was a steelworker, like other residents in the area, first-time homeowners in the city. I refer to it as halcyon because it has a specific meaning, connoting happiness, peacefulness, and bliss. That part of Woodlawn was semi-industrial because the factories along South Chicago, we lived on a block we called the Pickle Factory because they processed and packaged dill pickles and mayonnaise and salad dressing because it was bounded by Cottage Grove and King Drive. And most of the people traveling through the area used those arteries. So we were able to play in the street all day, play baseball and football and just run up and down the street without a lot of traffic. I went to McCosh Elementary School, which is now called Emmett Till, which was named after Emmett Till, who was a student there. In fact, he was a classmate of mine. Saturday or every other Saturday, we used to walk to the public library. Public library was on 63rd and Kimbark. That part of Woodlawn was still predominantly white. We were called nigger by the white kids in that area. The year I was born, this area was predominantly white, east of Cottage Grove. To their credit, they built a very strong, viable community, and nobody can ever deny that it was a very strong community with leaders who were committed, worked hard. I mean, they worked hard to keep us out of it. Woodlawn has notoriety mainly from the 60s and 70s when it became infused with criminal element. There are negative connotations about Woodlawn today that stem from all of the violence that's taken place over the past 2 decades or more. A national pattern in urban areas which fell on hard times were older parts of the of various cities, and neglect, disinvestment, no investment, and just a flight of people with resources. That goes back to the 1940s. And Woodlawn at that time was making a big transition from a predominantly white, middle class, upper class area community to one made up of mainly people migrating from other parts of the city and from the South. In those 45 years, I lived in Washington, D.C., in South Carolina, in Germany, in Italy, in Portugal, in Kenya, in Korea, and in Japan. And I returned to Woodlawn, bought a house in 2012, and I moved back in 2016, and was totally dismayed with what has taken place in Woodlawn in the years that I was gone. The fact that the elevator train, the L, was torn down, and removing a major transportation link to the CTA system. As I spent more time back, I realized at the lack of vision on the part of the leadership in this community, the religious, the political, and other leadership, other leaders in this community. In fact, I think this community deserves more than we've gotten in terms of the leadership. I've talked with a lot of my peers, those in my age, a group that are still around, who feel very strongly about Woodlawn still and grew up in Woodlawn, that everything that is being centered around that presidential center could have been done years ago.
We just want to make sure that we have a say in what the city does and that we get the most affordable housing units possible.
Affordable housing, and that's another part of the argument, because there have been three main benefactors of the decline of Woodlawn's population. And that's the main problem with Woodlawn, is a fourth of the population was lost. The University of Chicago, Apostolic Church, and Mount Carmel High School. Mount Carmel High School built their athletic field on affordable land that was affordable housing. All of that parking you see around Apostolic Church was once affordable housing. The University of Chicago is the major player. Like most institutions in many communities, they're a major player in the community that they have an investment in. And they have to be sure at least a 100-year plan. I'm here at this meeting to just garner more information about what this organization wants to do with furthering the development of Woodlawn.